BloodBorne Pathogens Responder, and Lockout/Tagout Authorized User Training, Whole Foods Market. Introduction to bloodborne pathogens. Who is at risk? Team members who, due to their work activity, may have a reasonable expectation of contact with blood or other potentially infectious material, OPIM. Why do you need this training? As an at-risk team member, OSHA requires you to be trained on how to protect against the health hazards from exposure to blood and certain body fluids that may contain bloodborne pathogens. Jobs with the highest risk: associate team leaders and team leaders, store facility leadership, janitorial porter team member. Only these 4 team member job classes are authorized to respond to a spill or area where blood OPIM may be present and initiate cleanup. Summary of the OSHA Bloodborne Pathogens Standard. The standard applies to all employers, including Whole Foods Market. Whole Foods Market must have a written bloodborne pathogen exposure control plan. This will be reviewed annually by Global Safety. A written BBP exposure control plan must address these key elements: job classes and work practices where exposure may occur, personal protective equipment, PPE, and procedures to take if an exposure occurs. All team members must have an annual general training. All at-risk team members must have an annual responders training. And all at-risk team members must be offered the hepatitis B vaccine. Where is the Whole Foods Market Bloodborne Pathogen Exposure Control Plan located? In Section 7 of the Injury and Illness Prevention Plan, IIPP, located in the Store Facility Leadership Office and on the SharePoint. The OSHA Bloodborne Pathogen Standard is also available online. What are bloodborne pathogens? Microorganisms in human blood or other potentially infectious materials, OPIM, that may cause disease when the team member is exposed. Bodily fluids include a broad range of potential liquids from several bodily systems. To reduce confusion, Whole Foods Market considers all bodily fluids to be potentially hazardous: blood, feces, vomit, urine. Who should be concerned, and when might an exposure occur? Team members may be called upon to clean an area where blood or OPIM are present. In these instances, only trained and authorized team members may take action due to potential pathogen illness exposure, HIV, hepatitis B, and others. Whole Foods Market team members are not required or expected to provide first aid assistance to other team members or customers where blood or OPIM may be present. What are the primary diseases carried by blood and OPIM? Human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. HIV is the virus that causes the HIV infection. HIV can't survive outside the body. There is no cure or vaccine for HIV. Hepatitis B virus, HBV. Over 2 billion people are infected. Can survive outside the body up to 7 days. Vaccine is available. Hepatitis C virus, HCV. Over 3.9 million people are infected. Symptoms may take years to manifest. No vaccine is available. How are bloodborne pathogens transmitted in the workplace? Cuts or punctures from contaminated objects, such as from a discarded needle, in a trash can, or contaminated broken glass. Broken skin rashes, such as from getting blood or OPIM on a hand cut while cleaning up after a customer incident. Mucous membranes, including eyes, mouth, and nose, such as from being splashed by blood, OPIM, in the eyes, mouth, or nose. Methods to prevent or reduce exposure. Practice universal precautions, which assumes all bodily fluids are potentially hazardous. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE. Practice safe work methods. Universal precautions. Treat all blood and bodily fluids as if infected. use barrier protection, gloves and eyewear, to avoid contact with infected bodily fluids. Immediately clean up and decontaminate surfaces and equipment. Personal protective equipment, PPE, helps prevent exposure, should be worn by team member when responding to a spill or incident. Includes latex or nitrile gloves for cleaning and applying bandages, eye goggles, and a disposable apron. Safe work methods. When using PPE, team members should observe the following precautions. Wash hands as soon as possible after removing gloves or other PPE. Remove PPE after it becomes contaminated and before leaving the work area. Wear gloves where there may be hand contact with blood or other OPIM and when handling or touching contaminated items or surfaces. Remove gloves if torn, punctured, or contaminated, or if their ability to act as a barrier is compromised. Never wash or decontaminate gloves for reuse. Remove any garment contaminated by blood, OPIM, promptly. Cleaning and decontaminating contaminated areas. Cleanup should be performed by trained team members with approved chemicals. Spills of blood, OPIM, should be promptly cleaned while wearing the appropriate PPE. If broken glass or other sharp objects are present, use a dustpan and broom or tongs. In the event of significant spills, contact external professional cleaning contractors. Follow local regulations to properly dispose of regulated waste. Use third-party business partners for disposal. Use alpha HP disinfectant from Diversey Chemicals. Do's and don'ts. Don't let team members spread the spill. Let untrained team members clean the spill. Reach into trash cans. Do use spill kit and follow procedures. Pick up trash bags from the top, not the bottom. Wear protective gloves. Watch out for snapping when removing gloves. Remember, dried blood is still dangerous. What is considered an exposure to bloodborne pathogens? An exposure incident is when a specific eye, mouth, other mucous membrane, non-intact skin, or parenteral comes in contact with blood or other potentially infectious materials. Definition of parenteral: taken into the body in a manner other than through the digestive canal, not within the intestine, not intestinal. The blood or OPIM has a potential entry point into the body to be an exposure incident. Blood or vomit splashed on the intact skin would not be an exposure incident. If you think you are exposed, it is extremely important to do the following. Wash hands and any exposed area thoroughly with soap and water. Report the incident immediately to store facility leadership, who will follow injury reporting protocols. An incident report will need to be filled out and the nurse line contacted to provide medical direction and next steps. Medical treatment should be obtained as soon as possible. Must follow specific post-exposure protocols as outlined in the IIPP. Report all potential exposure incidents immediately and seek medical treatment. The post-exposure evaluation will include a confidential medical evaluation that includes: document the route of exposure, identify the source individual, test the source's blood or OPIM if they allow consent. Review the post-exposure evaluation and follow-up sheet. Reminder: the main bloodborne diseases of concern in the workplace are HIV, HBV, and HCV. There is currently no vaccination available for HIV or HCV. There is a vaccine for HBV, hepatitis B. Hepatitis B vaccine. Vaccine should be given to those team members identified previously as high risk for HBV, provided in a series of 3 or 4 shots over a 6-month period, endorsed by medical, scientific, and public health communities. Offered to all associate team leaders, store facility leadership, and maintenance janitorial porters within 10 days of work assignment, provided at no cost to the team member. If declined, the team member must sign the declination form. The vaccine is available at any time in the future if requested, and always at no cost to the team member. Note, if any other at-risk team members are identified, please contact your regional safety specialist. Studies show after receiving the vaccine, if a person develops adequate antibody to hepatitis B surface antigen, protections for HBV may be intact for up to 15 years. In addition, if the HBV vaccine or hepatitis B immune globulin is given promptly after exposure, infection may be prevented. Action items. Please see the attachments within the curriculum: Hepatitis B acceptance or declination form, Concentra authorization form, Hep B fact sheet. Utilize the Hep B acceptance or declination form to accept or decline the Hep B vaccine. This form must be returned to your store leadership regardless of decision. Note, the Hep B fact sheet is information regarding Hep B. Please conduct your own research regarding the vaccination, as it is a personal medical decision. If you choose to accept, you must print the second document titled Concentra Authorization Form, Hep B. This form is to be filled out and discussed and signed by your store leadership. Store leadership will determine a time for you to visit Concentra. Note, team members must clock out when going to receive this vaccination. Lockout Tagout. The goal of Lockout Tagout is to ensure the power on a machine is off and the power supply is physically isolated before work is performed. Who can perform Lockout Tagout? Authorized team members. Only authorized team members can perform Lockout Tagout to de-energize machines or equipment. If it needs to be locked out, find one of your team's authorized team members. Do you know who the authorized team members are on your team? They should be listed in Appendix D of IIP, Section 5, Authorized Team Member List by Team and Equipment. They should be familiar with all equipment and machines, the energy sources present, and the steps to follow to lock out each. All other team members are considered to be affected. All should understand our Lockout Tagout program, including knowing who on their team can lock out or tag out equipment. Never remove a lock or tag that is found in use. Only the team member who applied the lock can remove it, or the STL/ASTL in very specific cases. Standardized locks, tags, and equipment. Each location should have locks and tags available that are identified and designated for use with this program only. Plug locking devices should be available to isolate electrical plugs from use. Circuit breaker lockout devices should be available for use with hardwired electrical equipment. Steps to follow to lock out and tag out electrical hardwired equipment. Notify all affected team members in the area that a lockout system is going to be utilized. The authorized team member should know the type and magnitude of energy the equipment uses, as well as the hazards present. Shut equipment off by normal means of operating. Locate and lock out all energy isolating devices with assigned locks and tags. Ensure the authorized team member's name and date is on the tag. Test equipment to assure it is locked out by pushing the on control and then moving back to the off position. The unit is now locked and tagged off. Steps to follow to lock out and tag out electrical plug type equipment. Notify all affected team members in the area that a lockout system is going to be utilized. Unplug the electrical equipment from the wall socket or inline socket. Attach a Do Not Operate tag with the authorized team member's name on it and a plug box and lock on the end of the power cord over the plug. Test the equipment to assure the power has been removed. Press the start or on switch and then move to the off position. Perform the needed work. When to lock out, tag out. When electrical equipment is broken, damaged, or in need of any repair by a service technician. Can be done by the shift leader. When a machine guard is broken, damaged, or missing. Can be done by shift leader or team leader. Lock out equipment that you are authorized to clean yourself, such as bread slicers, bandsaws, and deli slicers. Tag out is not necessary in this situation. Lock and tag out energy sources whenever the unexpected startup or release of stored energy during servicing or maintenance may cause injury to our team members or others. Exception for electrical plug type equipment only. OSHA allows an exception to lockout on plug type equipment only. If the plug and cord remain in the exclusive control of the authorized team member while inspection, cleaning, adjusting, or repairs are being performed, then a lock and tag are not required. Note: the authorized team member cannot leave the equipment at any time or for any reason, even if a customer arrives. Must use lock tag if there is a chance of needing to leave the equipment unattended. Returning equipment to service. Check the area around machines or equipment to ensure no one is exposed. Ensure all tools have been removed from the machine or equipment. Guards have been reinstalled, and team members are in the clear. Remove the lockout device. Operate the energy isolating device to restore energy to the unit. Periodic inspections at least annually. OSHA requires that each Whole Foods Market location review this program on at least an annual basis and document that energy control procedures are implemented effectively and all team members understand their responsibilities and have been trained. To properly perform the inspection, one authorized team leader should be designated as the inspector, and all other authorized team members in each department participate in reviewing each lockout, tagout procedure, demonstrate how to perform, confirm the procedures are adequate, understand, and follow. Document the periodic inspection in the appropriate form. If the Whole Foods Market location has equipment that is energized by air, hydraulic, heat, or other energy sources, those sources should also be de-energized and locked out prior to any work being performed. Consult the equipment's operating manual for LOTO steps and instructions. These are the tools used in lockout tagout. Let's review. Never operate equipment if you are under 18. Never operate equipment if you are not trained. Never operate equipment if it's damaged or broken. Report defective equipment immediately. Never remove or bypass machine guard. Never remove a lock or tag unless you're the authorized team member who placed it there. Only an authorized person can lock out equipment for service or maintenance to be performed. Please take a moment to print, review, and sign the Lockout Tagout Safety Acknowledgement Form. Please direct questions to your regional safety specialist. Thank you.